Good evening. Tonight, we witness a monumental shift not only in West Africa's economy, but in the entire continent's industrial future. In what many are calling a landmark achievement, Burkina Faso's president, Captain Ibrahim Traore, has officially unveiled Africa's largest tomato processing factory, built entirely with national resources, African expertise, and a vision for sovereignty that is now coming to life, one tomato at a time. Yes, you heard that right. In a continent where tomatoes are abundant, yet billions are spent annually importing tomato paste from Europe and Asia, Burkina Faso has stepped up and said, no more. This is not just a tomato factory. This is a bold statement, a line drawn in the sand. It is about reclaiming control of our food chains, our industries, and our future. President Traore, known for his uncompromising stance on African self-reliance, declared during the factory's inauguration. Why should we, the growers of the tomato, import it in tins with foreign labels? Why should our farmers stay poor while others profit from what we grow? Today, we end that cycle. Today, we begin a new era where our soil, our labor, and our intelligence serve our own people, not foreign interests. This tomato factory is no ordinary plant. It spans acres of industrial land, equipped with state-of-the-art processing machines, packaging units, storage facilities, and quality control labs, all run by local engineers, technicians, and agricultural cooperatives. At full capacity, it will process thousands of tons of tomatoes per day, producing everything from pure paste and sauce to dried tomatoes and bottled products ready for local and regional markets. And perhaps even more importantly, it is expected to employ over 15,000 people directly and indirectly, including farmers, factory workers, transporters, packaging designers, and sales agents. But let's go deeper. For decades, African nations, Burkina Faso included, have grown tomatoes in abundance. In fact, many rural families depend on tomato farming as a primary source of income. And yet, year after year, those very tomatoes rot in the sun. Why? Because there's no place to process them, no infrastructure, no investment. Meanwhile, imported tomato paste floods local markets, often cheaper, because it's subsidized in Europe and Asia, mass-produced in factories that serve foreign economies, not African ones. President Traore has challenged this system head-on. With this new factory, Burkina Faso will not only stop importing tomato paste, it will begin exporting it to neighboring countries, flipping the script entirely. And let us not forget, this move is also strategic. Tomato paste is one of the most consumed condiments in African households. From jollof rice in West Africa to tomato-based stews and sauces across the Sahel and beyond, the demand is massive. Capturing even 10% of that market could mean hundreds of millions of dollars in annual revenue that stays in Africa. This isn't just economics. It's national pride. It's food sovereignty. It's industrial dignity. The impact of this initiative will ripple far beyond Burkina Faso. Already, leaders from Mali, Niger, Chad, and Guinea have expressed interest in replicating the model. Delegations from across the continent are scheduled to visit the facility in the coming weeks. What we are witnessing is the rise of a new industrial blueprint for Africa, one that says we no longer need to wait for foreign aid or foreign investors. We can build, we can innovate, we can manufacture, we can feed, employ, and empower ourselves. And let us not forget the symbolism here. The tomato, a humble fruit, often overlooked, has become a symbol of resistance, a symbol of African potential, a symbol of saying, we are enough. President Traore's vision is proving contagious. With each bold decision, from banning food imports to launching state-backed agro-industries, he is reshaping not only Burkina Faso's economy, but the very mindset of African leadership. So tonight, as the first cans roll off the assembly line, as the first trucks prepare to deliver locally made tomato paste across the region, we are reminded of what can happen when vision meets courage, when Africa invests in Africa. This is not the end. This is just the beginning. Stay tuned as we go live to the heart of the factory, speak to local farmers who now have guaranteed buyers, and hear from economists about the long-term ripple effect of this historic achievement. Because Africa is rising, and this time, with its own hands, its own harvest, and its own heroes.
Welcome to African Addict, your trusted source for the latest news stories and developments from across the African continent. From breaking headlines to inspiring achievements, political updates to cultural moments, we bring you the facts, the voices, and the impact that shape Africa today. Stay informed, stay connected, and join the conversation. This is African Addict, where Africa comes first. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for daily updates. Disclaimer: the content shared on African Addict is for informational and educational purposes only. While we strive for accuracy and fairness in our news reporting, we do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, or accuracy of the information presented. Opinions expressed in our videos do not necessarily reflect the views of the channel. Viewers are encouraged to verify details independently and form their own conclusions.
Good evening, Africa, and welcome to tonight's groundbreaking special report. From the heart of the Sahel, in the proud nation of Burkina Faso, a story has emerged that is redefining what is possible when visionary leadership, grassroots determination, and Pan-African pride converge into bold, transformational action. In a time when global food chains are dominated by Western conglomerates and African nations are told to wait for help, Burkina Faso is saying something very different. We will build our future with our own hands. And sending a clear message to both Africa and the world: self-reliance is not a slogan, and is equipped with state-of-the-art processing technology sourced not from Europe, but from partnerships with African innovators and select non-colonial international collaborators. The factory boasts the capacity to process over 1.2 million metric tons of fresh tomatoes annually, and it employs more than 15,000 Burkinabe citizens directly and thousands more indirectly through the extended agricultural value chain. It is a strategy. This initiative was launched less than 2 years ago, and already, the nation has seen a 300% increase in tomato farming output, thanks to national subsidies, seed banks, and localized irrigation programs. This was built by the hands of the Burkinabe people, guided by visionary leadership, and funded through state reserves, strategic partnerships with East Asian and Latin American allies, and a massive national campaign of domestic resource mobilization. Tonight, we spotlight a revolutionary achievement by none other than President Captain Ibrahim Traore, a leader who has not only spoken of African sovereignty, but has actively demonstrated what that sovereignty looks like in practice. They wear red armbands, symbolic of the tomato movement, and chant slogans such as "One seed, one future, and our soil, our wealth." For many of them, this isn't just about farming. It's about reclaiming dignity. There, we met women cooperatives who once survived on less than $1 a day, now running successful agro-enterprises. It is producing hope. But in African capitals and in the homes of ordinary citizens, the sentiment is very different. President Traore is being hailed as a revolutionary visionary, a new Nkrumah, a living Sankara. It is producing trade. It is producing power. One such woman, Adama, a 52-year-old former subsistence farmer, now leads a tomato distribution hub servicing 40 villages. She told us, and indeed, they have. President Ibrahim Traore has built Africa's largest tomato processing factory, a feat that is shaking the foundations of global agribusiness. Organic compost from factory waste is redistributed to farms. We welcome innovation, not instruction. And we welcome a new Africa, one where we are the authors of our own destiny. This factory is not the end. It is the beginning. The goal? To make Burkina Faso a continental leader in agro-processing, exporting not raw crops, but value-added African products. And just as importantly, to build a regional economic model that inspires the next generation of African nations to look inward, build locally, and rise collectively. This circular economy model has already drawn attention from global sustainability organizations, some of which are now lobbying to feature Burkina Faso in upcoming international summits. Today, I am a businesswoman. Nigeria, Ghana, and even Central African Republic have expressed interest in importing Burkinabe tomato paste, which is already being celebrated for its superior organic quality and long shelf life. This will include integrated rail and road networks, joint agronomic research programs, and a regional food reserve strategy. For the first time in decades, African food sovereignty is being discussed not as a theory, but as a reality. Malnutrition rates are falling, and school enrollment is rising. Why? Because children no longer have to miss school to help their parents struggle with survival. Now, parents can afford school fees. Families can afford healthcare. and communities can afford dreams. I send my children to school. I built a house. All because the president believed in us. Located just outside the capital, Ouagadougou, the newly inaugurated tomato megafactory spans over 120 hectares of land, he stated. This is not merely a tomato factory. It is a symbol of defiance, a monument to local ingenuity, and a working engine of industrial revolution in the Sahel. President Traore, known for his grassroots leadership style, military discipline, and revolutionary spirit, made the announcement during a national address. We were told to export raw tomatoes and import quinoas. Today, we bury those lies. Today, we show the world that Africa can feed Africa and Africa can export to the world on our terms. We have been lied to for decades. We were told Africa cannot feed itself. We were told value addition is too expensive. The tomato megafactory is part of a broader agro-industrialization strategy launched by the Traore administration under what is now being referred to as the Red Gold Initiative, named after the deep red hue of Burkina Faso's native tomato varieties. What makes this transformation more remarkable is that it has occurred without a single loan from the IMF, without any grants from the European Union, and without reliance on the African Union's bureaucratic development mechanisms. Our correspondents visited the tomato heartlands of Bobo Dioulasso, Fata Ngourma, and Ziniere. Before this, I felt invisible. In the town of Kédougou, youth once plagued by unemployment and hopelessness now form organized farming collectives. And the benefits of this megafactory stretch far beyond Burkina Faso's borders. The Economic Alliance of the Sahel States, AES, which includes Mali and Niger, has now signed agreements with the Burkinabe government to export canned tomato products across West Africa, reducing dependency on European food imports. This factory is not just producing food. International reactions have been swift and divided. Western media outlets are calling this a populist stunt, and some foreign economic analysts warn of economic nationalism. In a recent African Youth Conference in Addis Ababa, student leaders praised the Burkinabe model. One speaker declared, "Let us all build our tomato factories, our cocoa refineries, our cotton industries. Let us all be like Burkina Faso." And indeed, plans are now underway for a West African tomato processing corridor, with Burkina Faso as the nerve center. President Traore's administration has also prioritized sustainability. The tomato factory runs on solar power, recycles water, and is built with local materials. Domestically, the impact is measurable. Rural to urban migration has decreased. Household incomes in farming communities have doubled. In his closing remarks at the factory inauguration, President Ibrahim Traore stood atop a flatbed truck, wearing his military fatigues and a tomato-red sash, and addressed the nation. "We are not against the world, but we will no longer be ruled by it. We welcome trade, not tyranny. We welcome partnership, not paternalism." So what is next for Burkina Faso? Plans are underway to replicate the tomato megafactory model with other native crops, onions, mangoes, and cashew nuts. Tonight, we bear witness to a shift. We are watching an African nation plant seeds of revolution not through war or protest, but through tomatoes, through jobs, through dignity. We are watching what happens when leadership is rooted in the people, when sovereignty is more than a speech, when dreams are harvested and canned for export. This is not a miracle. This is the fruit of courage. This is Burkina Faso, and the world is watching. Stay tuned.
Thank you for watching African Addict, your home for reliable African news and stories that matter. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with the latest from across the continent. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a headline. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired. This is African Addict, bringing Africa closer to you.